Kuchkamadhu, Hemidau, Inyepimul, Amelia Flores, Makavchidum, Anyavam, Iwanch, Ahalakuik. Greetings, everybody. I'm Amelia Flores, Chairwoman of the Colorado River Indian Tribes, and my heart is happy today, is what I said in my language. But it is an honor and a privilege to return here today, 3 years after I first spoke in these chambers, from one sovereign nation to another, and on this 30th anniversary of the annual Indian Nations and Tribes Legislation Day. So on behalf of the Colorado River Indian Tribes, thank you. This truly is an historic moment. And to Governor Hobbs, thank you and your team for embracing our past and celebrating our future event happen, and to keep and to honor our government-to-government partnership. Thank you. I also want to express my gratitude to President Peterson and Speaker Montenegro for welcoming me to these chambers. And it is also my great pleasure to share this moment with my colleagues, Governor Lewis of the Gila River Indian Community and President Patia of the Fort McDowell Yavapai Nation. These leaders are working hard every day to find solutions to the many issues we face in Indian country. I also want to thank and extend my congratulations to those of you who were recently elected to office. Like you, as an elected leader, I can think of no higher calling than the one to serve others by representing them and advancing their interests. And this is especially so true now, with so much uncertainty and so much at stake. We are at a critical crossroads on the Colorado River. So the decisions we make about how we will share and use this living resource will directly impact our children and our grandchildren. In meeting our obligation to tackle the tough decisions and protect our resources, we must remember that it's not just about today, but it is also about tomorrow. We are called the Colorado River Indian Tribes because our members descend from 4 distinctive tribes: Mojave, Chemehuevi, Hopi, and Navajo. All 4 have their own stories and their traditions, which have been passed down from one generation to the next. My people, my Mojave ancestors, lived along the Colorado River since time began. Our creator, Mativil, provided the Colorado River for the Mojave and other indigenous people who live along its banks. But in providing us with the Colorado River, Mativil also entrusted us with the sacred responsibility to care for and to sustain the river that life gives us. Because our history, our culture, our ceremonies, and our futures are now at risk from a drier, hotter climate, the population growth and decision-making that does not fully account for our needs, my tribe is engaged in a great struggle, not just to protect our great river, but to protect the very essence of our identity. Our spiritual connection to the water was enshrined in my people long before the European settlers arrived in southwestern United States and took significant portions of our river away from us. Not just the water, but also the shape and the function of the natural river. One that no longer rises and falls like the cycle of life itself. This river is now very different than the one my ancestors respected, feared, and loved. We now share this great river with all of you, and we must learn to work together to protect and to preserve it. Your recent work, or I'd say our recent work through the drought contingency plan, was a critical step down this path. It builds relationships that will serve us well as we face the next challenges on the river. Representative Griffin, is she here? No? Okay. Well, wherever she is, I so appreciate your leadership, and I look forward to continuing to work with you and all of your colleagues to preserve our great river. So 3 years ago, I asked for your help to obtain congressional recognition of our tribal sovereignty so CRIT can control the use of our water off of our reservation lands. As I explained at that time, our water rights are the most senior water rights on the Colorado River and in the lower basin. Under the plain language of the decree from the United States Supreme Court in Arizona versus California, the very last to be shorted in times of drought. And unlike other tribal nations with recently enacted water rights settlements, CRIT did not have the authority necessary to allow for the use of its water off our reservation lands. And with your help and that of many others, we were able to achieve the enactment of the CRIT Water Resiliency Act. Thank you. Our tribal members, thank you. And Governor Hobbs, she was with me, and also Secretary Haaland last April as we sat on the banks of the Colorado River to sign the necessary agreement under the act that empowers CRIT to authorize the use of our water off our reservation lands. So Governor, you have been to our reservation twice in this past year, and I commend you for this. You have been our partner in making our acts a reality and in improving the agreements necessary for the recognition of our sovereignty and for CRIT to control how, when, and where our water is used. So we appreciate your partnership. And I recall in 2022, when I told the audience how CRIT wants to be a part of the solution of our great river. That has not changed. Unfortunately, despite the passage of our act, our water rights continue to be under attack. But rest assured, CRIT will protect our water rights. We always have, and we always will. Thank you. Our federal trustees at the Department of the Interior, at the request of other entities, is analyzing the involuntary reduction of all senior water rights. What our trustee is proposing directly violates the United States Supreme Court decree in Arizona versus California and is an attack on the long-established rule of prior appropriation, and it is wrong. I understand we are in difficult times, but we must all rethink how we use our water resources to care for the environment as we continue to farm and take care of our people. But seeking to take water from tribal nations with senior water rights is no solution. No solution at all, and will only bring about deeper conflict that distracts us from the real work of finding doable solutions. It is dividing us at a time when even more than ever, we must be united. Continuing down this path only hurts us all. Finding and developing doable solutions is just one reason why I am proud to serve on the Governor's Water Policy Council. The Council is reviewing many exciting ideas for water resilience for Arizona, including water importations, additional water reuse, sustainable groundwater management, and desalination. The creative and exciting solutions coming out of the Council are exactly what is needed to ensure the river's sustainability. While I'm here today to talk primarily about our namesake, the Colorado River, there are other great importance at CRIT and throughout the 21 tribes in Arizona. And I'd like to take a few moments to raise these issues with you. The first is education. Our tribal students attend local public schools, and the investments we make in education is necessary to prepare the next generation to address the many challenges they will face. Thank you, Governor Hobbs, for your efforts in the continuation of Prop 123 funding, and for your support of exempting school districts from aggregate expenditure limits so schools can spend what is appropriated. Without this, the outcome would be staff cuts to overcome the shortfall. This must be a priority, as education is essential to a better life, not only for our tribal students, but for all students. I'm also concerned about the implementation of the Indian Child Welfare Act, or as we call it, ICWA. I ask for the state to continue its robust application of ICWA to ensure that judges and attorneys are appropriately trained on the protection and goals of ICWA. Congress enacted for the well-being of tribal children, families, and the continued health of tribal nations. We must address the needs of those at risk to the illness of substance abuse and mental disease, and the abuses they suffer at the hands of caregivers. Thank you for helping to stop those abuses, and I ask that you continue to be vigilant for tribal members to have access to legitimate, evidence-based, and culturally competent substance abuse facilities where there is an emphasis on healing. We also need to address the needs of those who are most at risk, our young ones. Within our community, there are a number of efforts focused on supporting the healthy development of our young children. This includes our children having access to Head Start and health care at our local clinic. Our tribe also partners with First Things First, where programs funded included improving access to childcare, because 68% of households have parents employed that need childcare, and only 51% of preschool-age children are enrolled in early care and education programs. And as I noted above, These are issues that affect all the 22 tribes in Arizona. As a former First Things First board member, I know that every year First Things First funding supports around 133,000 children, families, and professionals, and impacts over 70 community organizations across the state. 95% of First Thing First funding goes directly towards programs and services that serve Arizona communities, including tribes. A decline in funding risks these essential programs, threatening the well-being of children and the stability of early education providers. During this legislation session, a bill will be introduced to increase investments in Arizona children, and CRIT is in support of this bill. Finally, while I believe our climate is changing, we need to invest in renewable resources. There are developers who are not living up to their obligation to respect our lands and follow our customs. I ask for you to require the development and implementation of intensive cultural surveys using tribally accepted methods so that our past can be protected for our future. So in conclusion, yes, I'm going to end this. I simply want to say that at CRIT, to work with those who are willing to work with us on ways to resolve the challenges and to champion the issues that matter most in a manner that is fair and equitable for all. I remain convinced there is a path forward, and that will be for us to be creative, resilient, and collaborative. And above all, it will require us to reaffirm our belief in one another and respect for the sovereignty of the Colorado River Indian tribes and the 21 tribes of Arizona, understanding we are all unique. So let's move forward together with determination and hope to build a brighter future for all. I trust, and I hope you join me in trusting, we can get there together. Yomong, Etka, Korenyem. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Chairwoman.